Hey, it's Ruby. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. I'm simultaneously filming a reading vlog and you'll see what I've been up to, but I wanted to sit down quickly and film this because I did read 18 books in the month of June, which honestly, I thought I wasn't going to read much in June because I was so busy packing, moving out, moving in, unpacking, and I'm still actively doing that. I have 2 days left to fully move out of the old place, and I still have stuff and then I have to clean and all that. So I'm taking a little break to film this because I found my reading journal and I filled it out, and now I get to talk about the 18 books that I read in the month of June. June was an audiobook heavy month because there was just no time to sit down and pick up an ebook or a physical book. So I was just listening to audiobooks as much as I could because it was helping me get through the torturous, move out, move in process. And then there were so many problems in this new place. And yeah, I needed something to distract me. So I read 18 books, a total of 6,784 pages, an average star rating of 3.7, which I think is good. Anything over 3.5, I think is pretty good. Like for an average rating for the month, I had 3 5-stars and no DNFs, which is really good for me personally. Also, we got a new color introduction. Look at that. We got a lot of yellow going on. Yellow is a mystery. I really don't read mysteries, but I picked up a mystery because of my Will I DNF video, and I ended up loving it and then kept reading books in the series. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna flip over to my reading tracker because I was putting the books away and I was like, why didn't I set aside books that I read? But we have the reading tracker. I've read 104 books so far this year, and I'm thinking I should do a Q2 video. I did a Q1 where we recapped everything, so we might do that. We'll see. But let's start off at the beginning. I filmed the bookshelf ultimatum, the last one. I will link the video up top in a card and down below. And I started that video with Beartown by Frederick Bachman, my very first Frederick Bachman book. I had heard nothing but great things about this author, so I was really excited about the book, and I ended up loving it. If you're not familiar with Beartown, we follow this town called Beartown, and they live in the middle of like the forest, very secluded. They don't have a lot of jobs, not a lot of opportunity, and they live for hockey. That's like their pastime. That's what they root for. Their kids play hockey. They played hockey themselves when they were kids. Very big hockey town. And this year, their junior team is like going all the way. They are, I feel like they're 16 to like 18-year-olds or like 15 to 18-year-olds, around that age group. But they have a shot for the national championship, and they're currently in the semifinals. And we start off the book meeting the whole town, which was amazing because you really truly like form an opinion for yourself. I don't know, I feel like meeting all these people was such an amazing way to start the book because you really got into their heads. Like you really felt like you were a part of the town, and they end up playing the semifinal at the beginning of the book. They win, so now they're going to the final, to the championship final, and they're so excited. They celebrate, and something happens, something goes down at the celebration that really just rips the town apart. People react differently for different reasons, and it's just like very much looking into human beings and how we are and why we are the way we are and why we think what we think. And I just loved it, and I gave it 5 stars because it was so good. But yeah, that was a great start to that reading vlog. Then we moved on to Gilded Sparrows by Daphne Perry. This was my book club's pick for June, and I was really happy because I had been hearing a lot of people really rave about this book, really love this book. I've read 2 of Daphne's books and I really liked them. This was her first like romantasy book, and I enjoyed it. If you're not familiar with this one, we follow Odessa, I think was her name, and she is a princess from a kingdom, but she's not the princess. In this kingdom, or these kingdoms, this world, there is the one princess that's chosen as the sparrow, the Shield of Sparrows, and she is the one that has to be married to a rival kingdom. And they do this every so often to maintain the peace, to keep the peace. That way it's like, oh, don't mess with us because we'll off her. So kind of that situation. But there is a lot of mystery, there is romance, there is different things. At the beginning of the book, we realize that her sister is the sparrow, but something goes down immediately at the beginning that changes the whole course of the book. And I really like this. This was definitely romantasy, definitely like romance heavy, but I do feel like there was enough plot for my liking. I do feel like there are things, people have been making theories and all that of like, because of how it ended. Obviously, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but we have a little journey. She travels to the other kingdom. She really comes into herself and she realizes who she is and what she's capable of and what she's been missing out on in her own kingdom. So yeah, there's also the romance I liked. I did like the romance. I did like how she did it. I did like how things went down. Again, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I ended up giving this 3.75 stars because I feel like it kind of felt like setup-y, like a setup book, but it was still really good and I really enjoyed it and I can't wait for the next one. I'll be reading it. Absolutely. Then I finished out a duology with A Curse Carved in Bone by Daniel L. Jensen. The first one was A Fate Inked in Blood, which I liked. The first half of that book was really good. Then the second half got sloppy and I didn't like the direction they were going with. And this second book was okay. We pick up right where we left off in the first one. In the first one, we follow Freya, who is the shield maiden is Shield of Sparrows, Shield Maiden. The Shield Maiden, it's Norse mythology inspired, and in this book they really amp up the Norse mythology situation because we actually do have the gods present, and I really like that. So yeah, we follow Freya, who finds out that she is a shield maiden, although she knew all along, but now everybody else finds out, and this is catastrophic for her and her peaceful life because it really just upended. Everybody's after her. Everybody wants to get a hold of her to use her for their interests and to essentially wield her as a weapon. And she does not want to be used, but she really craves to be a warrior. Like, she really loves sword fighting and all that stuff. Like, she just, you know, that's who she's meant to be, but she's married to this awful man, like awful man. But again, the beginning of that book starts off with a bang. Like, it goes from 0 to 100 immediately. And in this one we continue right where we left off, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I just felt like I enjoyed the first one more, and I don't even remember what I ended up giving this. 3.5. Like, I felt like it was okay, but it was just very much just okay, very mid. I do recommend it. Like, if you see it on Libby or at the library, or even if you want to pick them up, maybe you find them at Book Outlet or something, or you already own them, I think it's worth the read. It's just not gonna blow your mind, at least not for me. But I have seen people that absolutely love these give them 5 stars. So reading is subjective. Try them out for yourself. I did think they were solid. And then I picked up a book that had been sent to me, A Thorn in Every Heart by Kate King. I didn't know much about this book. All I knew was that it was Beauty and the Beast meets Anastasia. And I haven't read a lot of fairy tale reimaginings or retellings, but I was really excited for this one because I love Beauty and the Beast. I really love Belle. The whole Stockholm Syndrome stuff is kind of cringe for a children's movie, but for a romantasy book, I was excited. But this was different. This was not what I was expecting it to be. Like, I really thought it was going to be like, oh, Belle is captive by the big bad beast. But it was not that. It was definitely a take on that. But it wasn't exactly that, and I really enjoyed it. It's very contemporary romantasy because she's in modern day world. Like, she is definitely one of us, and there are cell phones, there are all the things that we use in this world, but then she does get transported into the Fae realm. So keep that in mind if you don't really like a lot of contemporary dialogue and, you know, like cell phones and stuff. Like, she's from our world. So yeah, keep that in mind. But I really ended up enjoying it. I gave it 4.25 stars, and this is a standalone, but it's like interconnected. So the next book is coming soon, and that one is The Little Mermaid meets The Princess Bride, and I'm so excited for it because we meet the main characters in the first book. But like I said, the first book, it's a completed story. Like, their love story is wrapped up, but now we're following their friends, and I'm excited because we're following a siren, a mermaid, and I feel like she's really sassy and she's gonna give me everything that I want. And then the guy seems like he's more serious, but he's not, I wouldn't say he's grumpy, he's just more serious. But he's like also lighthearted. I don't know. I like the guy. I liked him in the first book, so I feel like I'm gonna like the second one, and I really hope that I can get my hands on it sooner rather than later because I think it's gonna be really good. And then I completed that reading vlog with Carrie Soto is Back by Tanner Jenkins Reid. That was the last pick for Bookshelf Ultimatum. I'm looking at it. And I figured that I was gonna like this. I didn't think that I would love it, but I figured that I would like it because we met Carrie in Malibu Rising, and when I read that, Carrie was so messy. It's just so messy, and I love that about her. She's just very flawed, and she knows it, and she owns it, and she's like, this is who I am. What about it? And I really like that. And she is also a professional tennis player, and I love tennis so much. I played tennis since I was very young, and I love tennis. So I figured that I would really like it, and I loved it. We really just follow Carrie as she lives her life. But at the beginning of the book, we find out that she's retired, but she's coming out of retirement because there's this young girl that has gotten this close. Like, she's about to break her record, and she's like, absolutely not. I'm the best that ever was, and nobody is gonna surpass my record. So she comes out of retirement just for that. And we follow her as she navigates the tennis world, as she navigates her personal, like, romantic life, her family life, and I really loved it. 5 stars for that one. It was my second 5-star of the month, and I really was just like ecstatic that I had 2 5-stars in one reading vlog. So check it out because that was a good one. Then we moved on to Will I DNF. This is another series in my channel that I really like because it makes me go through the books that I've been putting off or that I just think that I've outgrown, and it's a lot of fun. We read like a ton of books. I think I read 6 or 8 books. I tried to read quite a bit for those reading vlogs to get through, like, you know, variety. I like to keep my series to be like different, but the first one I picked up was Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. Was this my first Brandon Sanderson book? Yeah, it was. And the reason I had picked this one up is because I had previously soft DNF'd it. I wasn't really into it, but I also was on a road trip, wasn't paying attention. However, I picked it up and I liked it well enough, but I didn't love it. I felt like had I not been listening to the audiobook, I probably would have DNF'd it again. But in this one, we follow Yumi and Painter, and they're from different planets, but they end up in a Freaky Friday situation. So they end up switching consciousness, switching bodies, very Freaky Friday. But Yumi and Painter live incredibly different lives. Yumi's life is full of structure, and she's honestly miserable in her life. Painter has more freedom, but he doesn't feel very fulfilled because he's doing like low level public service work, and he's just like, is this life? Like, so they're both not loving their lives, but when they meet, everything changes and they're trying to figure something out. It's like a little bit of a mystery. It's a little bit of everything, a little bit of romance, a little bit of mystery, a little bit of fantasy. Well, it is a fantastical world, and it does take place in the Cosmere. We have the narrator of the Cosmere in it. The ebook has beautiful artwork. All in all, I enjoyed it. I just didn't love it. I don't regret it though. And I ended up giving this one 3.25 stars. I did not unhaul it because I can see myself rereading it in the future, years from now. But yeah, also it's just a beautiful book. So there's that too. Then I picked up The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu because I'm trying to get through all my Cassie Clare books from back in the day. All the like Shadowhunter books, I own them all. I've been getting through them slowly and I have unhauled all of them. I did not unhaul this one. I gave it 3 stars, but the reason that I didn't unhaul it is because it is a duology and I'm gonna continue on and see if the duology is for me. If not, I will unhaul it. Not because I hated it, just because I feel like I'm too old for it at this point. But we follow Magnus and Alec as they're taking a romantic vacation after the events of the first 3 Mortal Instruments books. And I love Magnus and Alec together. I love Magnus so much. He's probably my favorite character so far in the Shadowhunter universe. And no, because I really love Jem. Magnus and Jem tied. But yeah, I really love him with Alec. They're so cute. They're so in their heads about their relationship, but for 2 different reasons. And yeah, it was cute. There was a little bit of a mystery going on, a bit of a situationship, but you know, it was just okay. Definitely if I had been younger, I would have loved it. I would have been eating it up. I would have been like giggling and kicking my feet. I kind of did that, just this much. But after that one, we picked up Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, which I did in fact unhaul. Despite giving it 3 stars, I just feel like I'm too old for this. And I also didn't love the MMC or the FMC. Honestly, I just feel like I didn't love anything about this, but I felt like it was a solid story. I felt like younger me would have really loved it, but a 35-year-old to me was like, that was okay. In this one, we follow our main character who is a lover of fan fiction. She writes fan fiction and she kind of lives in that world. She's all about that. That's really like the only thing that she loves to do. She doesn't love to socialize. I'd say she does have some sort of social anxiety and she's very attached to her twin sister, but her twin sister's trying to distance herself from her. So yeah, she ends up having to talk to other people because her twin's doing her own thing. She meets a couple people. There is a guy. There's a bit of a romance there. But again, there was just nothing that I loved. However, had I been younger, I feel like this really would have been for me. My favorite part about it was that, like I said, she's the lover of the Simon Snow series and she writes fanfic. And there were little excerpts throughout the book where we read her fanfic and I liked her fanfic. So there is like, she wrote a trilogy. It's a Simon Snow trilogy. And I think it's like the fanfic that our main character is writing and I own them. So I'm going to read those and give them a shot because I feel like I would love those more than this book. But yeah, I didn't haul it. I didn't hate it. I just don't think that I would ever reread it. Next up, I read Gilded by Marissa Meyer, which is another fairy tale retelling. Marissa is the queen of retellings. Like, she has done so many. She's got the Lunar Chronicles. She's got, well, I guess that's it. But there are a lot of books within that. I love Marissa Meyer's work. I love Renegades, the trilogy. So I was excited for this, but I didn't think that I would love it because I had heard a lot of bad things. Honestly, like, I just hadn't heard a lot of good things. But this is a Rumpelstiltskin reimagining, and I really like how it was done. I found it to be a really good story, and I'm actually like really looking forward to the next one and finishing out the duology. I need a little refresher though of what it is that went on. Oh yeah, so we follow Cyrilda, who is the miller's daughter, and she is a little liar. She's always lying. And in this world, like, there are certain people that have been blessed by certain gods, and I forgot which one is her god, but we're assuming it's like, well, they tell us, but I don't know if it's like the god of lies or trickery or deceit. Oh, I think it's the god of stories or something. So she ends up telling these like crazy stories that seem like they're just so entertaining, but there is always a twist. But yeah, she ends up telling the lie to the wrong person. She tells a lie to the king of this land, and he ends up taking her away. And he's like, oh really, so you're claiming that you can spin gold? Okay, you're gonna come with me and you're gonna spin me this gold, or I'm going to you. And so she's like, shit, what do I do? Because she was totally lying. And she ends up meeting someone that helps her out, and our story takes off from there. I really liked it, honestly. Even though it's YA, I enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to read how it ends. It's just a duology. I ended up giving this one I think 4 stars, but like I said, it was a pleasant surprise, and I cannot wait to read the next book. Yeah, 4 stars. Then I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. And the reason that this one had been on the list was because I had previously soft DNF'd it, because I just was bored. I wasn't super invested, but I also wasn't paying attention. So this time I did, and I listened to the audiobook because I figured that that would help me get through it. And you know, I was packing and stuff. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. I just feel like the historical fiction aspect, it's just, historical fiction is not my thing, and this was a little bit of different things. Like it did have historical fiction element in there, but it wasn't very prevalent. It was more, it felt more like magical realism, even though, I mean, was it? Honestly, I don't even know what genre this is. I think I just classified it as fantasy and called it a day, because it's a little bit of different things. But yeah, we follow Addie, who is from like the 1600s, and she's going to be married to this man that she does not want to marry. She doesn't want that life. She doesn't want the quiet life, being the doting wife. And so she makes a deal with this entity in the darkness, and she was always taught, do not make deals with the gods that answer after dark. But she does out of desperation, and she ends up essentially becoming immortal, living years and years and years in complete freedom to do whatever she wants. But nobody remembers her. Not her family, not anybody, like at all. She'll go into a shop and somebody will say hi to her, like, hey, can I help you? For instance, I think there's a scene where she goes into a dressing room and like the sales associate like leads her in, but obviously she closes the curtain, and when she opens it, the salesperson has forgotten her, because as soon as she's out of sight, they forget her until somebody doesn't. And I really was intrigued with the romance. I didn't love the romance that I should have loved. I was much more on this lane than on this lane. Again, I don't want to spoil things for you, but if you've read it, then you know what I'm talking about. I was more invested in the toxicity than the relationship. I don't know, you know. That was the part I liked. He was my favorite character. So yeah, it was good. I just didn't love it, and I did unhaul it. I gave it 3.5 stars. Obviously, did not hate this book. Gave it a pretty good rating. I just don't see myself rereading it, and if I do, it'll be on audio, so I don't need the physical book. So I unhauled that one, which I should film an unhaul video, because I've unhauled a lot of books recently. But there's that. Then Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce. I picked this up because I had gone to Texas and I was at Barnes with my brother, and I picked up the second book, book 2, which is Dating and Drama, I think, or Dating and Dungeons, what is it called? Dating and Dragons. That's what it's called, because I had heard good things about it, that it was cute, and if you like YA romance, you should read it. And I do like YA romance, so I was like, okay. But this one was the only one in the buy one get one half off tables at Barnes and Noble, so I didn't pick up book 1. I was like, it'll be fine, they're interconnected, and they really are not related at all. They're actually not interconnected. They're just they both have D&D in them, but they're not interconnected whatsoever. So That was a false statement. You can read one, you can read the other. They do not overlap. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I read the first one on Libby and I immediately went to purchase it because I love this so much. It was so cute. It gave me like the feelings that I got reading Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. That's exactly how I felt reading this. So if you are a fan of Better Than the Movies, you need to read this because it was so stinking cute and it had fake dating and I love fake dating, but it felt so high school in the best way possible. Like, I mean that with like 100% love. Like, I loved my high school experience, so I have nothing but good memories, but it was just so insanely cute. And that's like the first thing I wrote in my reading journal. This was so insanely cute. I love the characters and the story. It was very YA, but not annoying, which that is, she knew what she was writing. They're telling each other they love each other by the end of the book, which I felt was so high school, like, because you think you're in love immediately and like you're together for like 2.5 seconds and you're like, I love you, and it was like that, but I didn't feel cringy. I felt like, yeah, that is an accurate representation of teenage love. But yeah, these two end up fake dating for different reasons. He has a reason and she has a reason, and they're very reluctant because they don't like each other. They definitely bicker all the time. They fight all the time, but they're not enemies. I would never say enemies to lovers. They get on each other's nerves, but I feel like that is so good. Like, tension comes from that, and I love this so much. I love the friend group. They were so cute. The D&D, I don't know how to play Dungeons and Dragons. I've never played it, never watched anything related to it, but you don't have to know anything about it. It was just so freaking cute and I loved it so much. 5 stars. And yeah, I actually have an extra copy of this that I unhauled because I don't need to. How I ended up with 2 is a different story, but yeah, when I bought it I was like, oh, finally I have you in my hands, because I loved it so much. And I actually ended up reading the other one in July. We'll talk about it then. But then I read a bunch of cozy mystery, the Finlay Donovan series. I picked this up because of Bookshelf Ultimate. I mean, why did I DNF? Because I just don't think that mystery is for me. Like, I've never really read it. I read one previously, but it was a classic, and then there were none by Agatha Christie, which I didn't love. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. So it's just like, is mystery for me? I'm not sure. I'm very new to mystery. I think the only mystery I've read is that one. And then romantic mystery in Daphne Perry's, what's it called? Indigo Ridge. Other than that, I have not read mystery. So I picked up Finlay Donovan is Killing It, book 1. Book 2, Finlay Donovan Knocks Him Dead. Book 3, Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun. And then the novella, Veronica Reese Breaks the Bank. I read all of those in the month of June. And let me tell you, they are so fun. They're funny. They do have mystery, but they're just like goofy, silly. And I really like the characters. I do think that the first one was my favorite. We follow Finlay Donovan, who is a mystery thriller writer, and she is on a lunch date with her agent, and they're talking about her next book because the agent's like so demanding. She's like, I need this like now. This manuscript needs to be like turned in now. Like, what are you doing? Pick it up. Like, you're costing me money. Time is money. Like, get it together. And so she's just pitching her like things out of her butt, and she pitches her something, and there's this woman at a neighboring restaurant who ends up overhearing their conversation, and she believes that she's a hit woman. So she slips her a little note before she leaves, and Finlay opens it and she's like, what the hell? No, absolutely not. But things happen. She gets caught up in so much happens throughout the course of these books, but I will say the first one was my favorite. After that, it gets a little repetitive, but I'd say that like the first one I gave it 4 stars. The second one I still really liked it, gave it 4 stars. The third one was okay. This one felt more like the same but worse. I gave that one 3.5 stars. And then the little novella Veronica Reese Breaks the Bank, I gave 3 stars, but that was like 100 pages. I will be continuing on and finishing out the series. I think there's 2 more books, a total of 6, because they're just fun. But I don't own anymore. I only own the first 3. The 4th one, I got it on Libby, and the 5th and 6th ones, I'm gonna have to put them on hold. Well, I think I already put them on hold, but again, I have to wait until they come up. Who knows when that's gonna happen, but I do want to read them because they were funny and they were cute and the characters are fun. So there's that. I read Lore of the Tides. I had an arc of this. This is book 2 in the conclusion of a duology by Annalise Brana. The first one was Lore of the Wilds, which I had got through Fairy Loot, but I unhauled. I thought it was good, but there were some things that were bothering me about the writing and just like the story in general. The romance I wasn't loving. We follow Lore, who's a human that gets caught up in the Fae world. The humans are kept in this like little secluded town and they're not allowed to leave. And they don't even know that they're like captives of the Fae. They just live in like poverty and they don't have great lives. But Lore ends up getting recruited by like a Fae to enter this magical library that no Fae can enter without ceasing to exist, but she's human, so she ends up going and entering the library. She loves books and she does not pass away, and so she's looking for this magical book for this Fae guy, and she meets somebody, this guard. There is romance, there is a love triangle, but honestly, like, it just felt messy. I didn't fully believe the love triangle, like I did, but it just felt a little rushed. And then in the second book, I felt no chemistry with anyone. I was just like, I just didn't love it. And the second book, like, she's on a ship for a long time. Like, I didn't love anything about it. Not the plot, not the romance. Like, the things that I had kind of liked of the first one were definitely not present in the second one. I just didn't like it. And I gave it 2 stars. It's unfortunate because if you look at the book cover on the screen, it's freaking gorgeous, but I didn't love the book, unfortunately. Then I picked up another arc that I had received back in January, I think. Any Trope But You by Victoria Levine. This was okay. It was good. It just was like a silly little romance. We follow our main girl who is a romance writer, and she the premise is really cool, actually. I was really like invested in it because of the premise, because we follow Margot, who, like I said, is a romance author. She's very successful, like very successful. She's got a huge fan base, and she ends up doing this live stream where things go down because one of her like files that she keeps on her computer that is just for her, that's where she writes alternative endings to all her books. All her books, just like every other romance book, has a happily ever after, but she does not believe in happily ever afters because she's been jaded in real life and she just does not believe in love. And so she always writes the real alternative ending, but it's just for herself. It's just like, instead of them going off into the sunset and like living happily ever after, they end up divorced. Like, she writes her like real ending, and the file ends up getting leaked during one of her live events that she's not wearing pants for, because like, just like me right now, like, I'm wearing pants, chill, but you can only see like my top half, not my bottom half. A lot of Zoom people were doing that during COVID. But yeah, she's like in her underwear and she's wearing like granny panties, and it's funny, it's chaotic. Like, she ends up getting exposed. She ends up running away to Alaska to write like a mystery. She's like, I'm leaving romance behind. This is what I want to do. She ends up meeting a mountain man who is more than she thinks he is, and like, yeah, it was fun, it was cute, but it didn't blow me away. I ended up giving it a very fair 3.25 stars. Like, I don't regret reading it, but I didn't rush out to pick it up. However, if you see it, I would read it. I mean, it's cute. The premise was cute. The execution was okay, I would say. And then the last book that I read was another arc of The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. Book 1 is A Spell Shop, and these are interconnected but very loosely. Like, we just get a mention of the characters in the first book, so you definitely don't have to read them both or in order. I would suggest that you do, because we end up meeting our main female character in the first book. We just get mention of her because she is the witch that creates our sentient plant Kaz that we all know and love from the Spell Shop. This was just as cute as the Spell Shop, just as sweet, but it was not as good as the Spell Shop in my opinion, because what I loved about the Spell Shop was the found family aspect. I love that. This had it, but with plants instead of people, and it just didn't hit the same way. I also didn't love the characters, the MMC and the FMC. Like, I liked them, but I didn't love them, and I do love the other ones. Like, there was just, it was the same, but again, worse. So I wouldn't say it was bad. It was still cute. It was still sweet, but the Spell Shop, in my opinion, was better. This one I ended up giving 3.75 stars, and I think I gave the Spell Shop 4.25 stars because I really like that one. However, I'd say if you enjoyed the Spell Shop, definitely give this one a shot, because like I said, it was just as cute and cozy. There was just certain things about the Spell Shop storyline that I preferred over this one. In this one, we follow the librarian that created Kaz out of loneliness. And yeah, you find out what actually happened to her. So if you're wondering from the Spell Shop, whatever happened to, like, even Kaz wonders, like, we find out, and it's crazy. I was like, wow. So yeah, definitely recommend it. It was good, just not great. But those are the 18 books. I know I talked a lot. One, because I'm just excited to be back. Two, because I did read a lot of books. But I always try not to talk too much, and then I always end up talking a lot. But yeah, if you've read any of these, let me know what you thought. If you're thinking of picking any of them up, let me know down below, because I would love to know. Especially like what you think about them, because I always like to see. If you have Goodreads, drop it down below, because I'm trying to follow more people. Yeah. But anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to continue the reading vlog, The Bookshelf Ultimatum, right now, and hopefully we'll have that up like Monday. Because I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to finish the unpacking, to finally have a couch that I can sit and read in and film in, and it's just gonna be great. So thanks for hanging out. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in a couple of days with another one. Bye.